Hey, just talking a little bit about last week before I get into your guys' questions. I know Coach Callahan hit a little bit on our punt team. It was nice to see, Stoney, what he's been showing us in practice, show up in games. He continues to get better after that injury he sustained. So love where he's at. Our punt team's been doing a good job in protection. I know Callie hit on the Gunners. It was nice to see those guys get out and, play with some great speed, force 2 penalties. Trey Avery getting that tackle. Just, with that being said, we're not going to celebrate what we did, but, that's the standard, and that's what we expect. I know Nick's got to make that kick, and he knows he's got to make that kick, that field goal. So, and then that long kickoff return that we gave up was unfortunate. And, just a case of a young guy trying to make a play. As a 2 on our kickoff team, he's an edge guy, and he's going to do a better job there. Setting that edge is a decision he made. Decides to beat the block inside, and at that particular moment, the blocker on his outside just gets him just a little bit and trips him up, and takes out 2-3 guys that are in position to make that play. So, with that being said, I got to do a better job coaching these guys, getting them ready to roll. We got a big challenge this week. The Minnesota Vikings, They pose a great challenge specifically on our punt team. They're going to rush 8 guys every time on their punt return. They do a really good job. Our Gunners, if they're single, they got to go make some plays. So big challenge this week, and looking forward to that.
So you're not going to celebrate what you did, and that's the standard, but you're going to open with a few minutes celebrating playing to the standard. Mm-hmm. I'm a little confused by that.
No, that's great.
This is what they're expected to do.
Yeah.
But you're going to talk to us about them finally having done what they're expected to do.
Yeah, I'm not by any means celebrating. I'm talking about it, mentioning it. Stoney's. I continue to tell you guys every week he's getting better, and it was nice to see him, hit the balls that we know he's capable of hitting. Our Gunners have done a great job in practice, just playing with speed, and for that to show up and reap the benefits of that is amazing. So. This is the nature of this business. You can't celebrate, what you did. It's all about what you're about to do. And we got a great opportunity to play a really good football team and go out and, build on off of what we did last week and take that momentum into this week.
Doesn't Julius falling down and taking down teammates like bowling pins offset a lot of that when you give up the 56 yards?
Yeah. So, we had a lot of momentum. I mean, the game's all about momentum, and certainly, when he goes in, I think we just scored or kicked the field goal there, and we're relying on those 10 guys to go make that play. And so Julius, just in practice, he's done a great job in practice, making that play. It's the same look we work, and so the coaching point for him, he's just got to get vertical and set that edge.
How many of your guys on the cover and return teams would you consider to be experienced special teams guys versus guys who are learning how to play special teams at this level?
Oh, that's great. Probably half of them. Half of them. I've never really thought about that. We're relying on all the guys. Every 10 guys, 11 guys that are out there, it's their job to perform. Just spending extra time with them in the meeting room, on the field, just, getting them up to speed. Like Luke Gifford's been around this league a long time, and it shows, his performance shows. So, getting guys to learn from him, and, me and Levine just meeting extra with them to get them caught up to speed.
Earlier you had the block kicks, so you tried to address that. Then you started to get the returns. Where are you now as far as finding that balance? Are you comfortable with having, the guys out there that could block and also cover? Yeah,
I like where we're at. We got a couple of rookies there on the punt team. They've done a good job with Jalen Harrell and James Williams. They've done a good job, and then our tight ends that are still in there is Chig and Wiley. They've done a good job. So. At the end of the day, it's the most complimentary phase where Stoney's got to do a great job being fast, getting the ball, giving our Gunners time to, cover. Our Gunners got to play with great speed. Our interior's got to protect and then go out and hunt. And, so that's the standard, and I like where we're at, but, we just got to build on what we did last week.
Callie, very complimentary of Avery and Hardy at Gunner last week. I guess, would you echo some of those sentiments on their play? And those two seem to be figuring something out at that position. Yeah.
So all year we've been getting a lot of singles out there at the Gunner. We've been stressing that our Gunners need to make some plays there. When they're single, they're not getting double vice. And so, To see them win in singles and get down the field, and I know Hardy forced 2 penalties, and you could argue that's better than making a tackle. Just forcing those penalties and pinning them deep, and then Trey coming down and making the returner go lateral, and by the interior punt team time to cover, and then him just falling back on that play is huge. So definitely something to build off of, and we're going to rely on those guys to make those plays.
What did you see in Will getting back on the field last week? He had his highest completion percentage of the season, but where were some of the specific areas you saw him improve Sunday from maybe his last start against Colts?
I thought for the most part his decision making was just super fast. I felt like he knew where he wanted to go with the ball, and so that really helped him be more accurate. So I thought the accuracy was good, playing with a healthy shoulder compared to when he had the Colts. So I thought the accuracy was much improved. I just thought the decision-making, I thought he played really fast for the most part. So those 2 things I thought were really good, and kind of going back out there and having limited reps to go out there and play your best completion percentage game was encouraging.
How does fast decision-making fit with holding the ball too long in those occasions?
It's a balance, right? So there's a couple ones that, we take 7 sacks, it's on everybody. So there's a couple where he knows that ball's got to come out. Now, the 2 of the ones at the end of the game, there's that 3rd and extra long, and he kind of climbs up in the pocket. That's just kind of a bad situation that you never want to be put in. But there's another 1 or 2 in there that he wishes he had back, and there's another 1, 2 that the line and the receivers wish they had back where they're getting open. But to your original question of, it's all situational. 1st and 2nd down, we can't be taking sacks. 3rd down, there's a chance if you can extend the play and things like that, but we need to stop being behind the chains on 3rd down, because if we keep getting these 3rd and longs, that's where all these teams, the last week the Chargers, and especially this week going forward the Vikings, if you're in 3rd and long, you're in a bad place. So that's really where the decision making and understanding the situation's got to kind of improve for all of us.
One of those sacks came, you had that sail concept, you booted him to the right.
Yep.
It's there.
Yep.
2 levels. He didn't throw it. Like, how can you get him to see that, believe it, and rip it? Because that's a big play.
Totally. There's opportunity for a big play there, and he's outside the pocket, and there was that one and the other one. We really wish, if you don't have it, throw it away, right? Don't take a sacks outside the pocket on movement. So if we're outside the pocket, got to throw it away. And we all know Will, he's very competitive. Sometimes he's got that, I can make this play, and I'm going to make a guy miss and things like that. And we're trying to get him to a little bit longer life survival, and then seeing those things full speed. So, he got that rep Wednesday, and then we got a walk through again on Friday, but more full speed reps, more times of doing those things. You'll see those guys and be able to throw it with a little more anticipation and make that throw.
Mason and Calvin had a pretty good connection during those 3 games, and then Will steps in. There's no drop off there. Is that just Calvin being a dude, or is it what do you attribute the chemistry to, not the drop off in chemistry to?
I think it's just kind of everybody is continuing to grow and getting more comfortable in the offense. I think as we've gone, in the beginning of the season, we're trying some different things and maybe moving people around and different personnel groupings and things like that. And I think the consistency of kind of the last couple of weeks, just offensively outside of the quarterback, having the same guys in the same spots. In the beginning, we were getting D-Hop back. We still had Burks. We had some other guys. So I think the consistency and everybody kind of just staying in the same spots has probably helped everyone, and now the quarterbacks as well. The quarterbacks have been a beneficiary of that.
Along with getting kind of the consistency there, since week 8, we've seen Calvin Ridley's first read target share just kind of skyrocket in this offense, kind of trying to get him the ball as many times as possible. Is that a big part of trying to get both your quarterbacks, but especially now Will Levis kind of going, getting him in rhythm and more confident as you start the games?
Yeah, we've been trying the whole season to get Calvin involved early, and sometimes they take it away and sometimes they give us some unscouted looks. It's kind of worked out these last couple games, and the just kind of consistency in the offense has been going, where we've been able to get him the ball. And I feel like I've kind of started talking on a tangent on your question, but go back one more time.
Just with the first read target share has kind of, you've been trying to get him the ball as fast as possible early and often there. You talk about kind of being more of a progression-based offense, but we've kind of seen that first read try to get Will kind of more in rhythm. Is that kind of the plan?
Absolutely. I think especially with where we are on our protection-wise and things like that, we want to get the ball out, especially on 1st and 2nd down. So being able to get him those targets on first and second down early is really important for us, whether it's we've thrown him some screens, we've thrown him some bubbles, then we throw him some quick game, and then we've had some shots down the field that are protected. So each week we've kind of been able to vary it up to get him involved. And if they take him away, we feel like we've got good options with all the other guys too. So it's been nice to kind of start games faster for a change.
You and Brian both talked early in the season about being able to do things schematically to kind of mitigate the issues on the right side
Yep.
of the offensive line. Do you still feel like that's something you can do, or has it reached a point in the season where opponents are just kind of pinpointing a weakness and going after it?
It's a balance. I think we're trying, at the same time, but like we've talked about before, there's it really limits some of the other things you do. So we're trying to get there, but we're still going to keep trying to help the right side. I don't think we can say at any point, we can't help it anymore. So that's going to remain a focus. And those guys, they're working, and it's kind of, been a rotation in there, and we'll see who's in there this week. But yeah, we're still trying to scheme it up and trying to help those things. But when you get in third and longs and you get in those long, obvious passing situations, it really kind of exposes your issues, your flaws even more.
You mentioned unscouted looks there in the Calvin answer.
Yep.
Generally, on unscouted looks, how do you expect the offense to react to that? What can you do against them? To what degree do you want them to be football players reacting to football plays? What percentage of stuff is unscouted looks?
What are we seeing as unscouted looks? What percentage? I would say probably 20%. 20% they give you something different. The Chargers did a really nice job, especially of kind of mixing the fronts that didn't match the coverages. So they had kind of shown if they the backer on the ball that it was this guy was going to come down, and then they brought him down the other way. And part of that's to stop our run game because we kind of are a run-heavy team. So to answer your question, yeah, it's a high percentage of those guys making plays, but at the same time, it's all got to be on time. So if I don't have that look, I know I'm looking for quarters to throw it to Calvin. They don't give me quarters. I got to get to my next read faster in the passing game and get the ball checked down, put the ball in play, especially against zone coverage, and try to, stay efficient on first and second down.
What's paramount for, Will to do well against a team that will?
Sorry, I couldn't hear the start of that.
What's kind of paramount for Will to do well on Sunday against a team that's going to come after him?
They're gonna blitz us, right? I think if you've seen Brian Flores at all even in Miami in the last couple of years, you have to be prepared for the pressure, and you have to show them that you're prepared for the pressure. If you start giving up a bunch of sacks and hits early in the game, then he's going to keep coming after you, and he's going to come after you for the next 60 minutes. So for Will, the most important thing is seeing the looks, understanding how the best way we're going to get the ball out and protect ourselves, whether it's max it up, get the ball out, whatever our answers are, he needs to hit those early in the game, because then if we do that, we'll be able to kind of have more success and kind of build that confidence going in.
Along those lines, Callahan has said that, you're building in quicker reads for him to get the ball out of his hands, and he wants Will to understand that. For you, can you kind of take us through that process of getting him to understand, hey, look, this is what we want you to do, and this is why?
Yeah, for sure. We've, now I think we're doing a better job. We're still growing as coaches with him we're showing him now he comes in some different looks in the morning, and he'll say, hey, okay, if I get these different looks, here's where should I go with these? And I think that's been really good to see his progression of how he's thinking through those things. So there's a pre-snap read, right? Pre-snap, they're showing me this, whatever look. I'm thinking this. I'm thinking I'm starting at this point. And then post-snap read, the moment the ball's pulled, okay, now what am I getting? And where can I shortcut that? Okay, now I can just start eliminating things in my mind and playing through the whole progression earlier and faster. So I think that's where he did a nice job. And he did a nice job of that before he got hurt too, but I thought last week he did a really good job of a lot of times, all right, I'm eliminating this and I'm moving on.
Mr. Blarder, for you here.
Okay.
First of all, what did you see out of Bryce Oliver in his first action as a receiver? And second of all, why is Tyler Boyd kind of diminished of late in this offense?
I would say, starting with Bryce, he has really just kind of, since the start of training camp, just kind of steadily done that and moved up. And so to see him get in there, get his first catch on a third down, and then we go on the ball in a no huddle situation and be able to get him there. It's not, the lights certainly aren't too bright for him, and he goes in there and he's a big, strong, physical guy who can run. So that's been nice to get him in there. And, when you can build up young players and they can kind of develop in your system, I think we've got a chance to really grow. And those are the guys you want. If you hit on some of these undrafted guys and they can become players for you for a couple years, that's a home run for us. To Tyler, he had the shoulder a little bit, so that really limited some of his practice. And then he's getting healthier, and I'd say this is the healthiest he's been in a handful of weeks. So, the plan is obviously to get him back in there more and get him rolling a little bit. But it was more of a health issue, and then kind of how the games were playing out, a little bit of an opportunity deal against going back to New England. We kind of stayed in some bigger personnel groups on first and second down, which kept him out. But we plan for Tyler to be a high factor in the offense.
Other than the blitzing, what do you see on tape from Minnesota that's led them to lead the league in turnovers this year?
They don't make mistakes. They're as disciplined of a group as we've seen. So they are going to try. You watch a lot of teams, they keep kind of chasing. There's a balance of chasing the looks that they're doing and then trying to get into your checks or whatever the blitz looks that they're giving you. And they run out and play cover 2 or they run out and play other things. They know their system inside and out. So if you're late on a progression, if you're not, eyes aren't in the right spot, they will make you pay. And they've done, Harrison Smith has got, as many turnovers as anybody in the last handful of years. But that's been the key for them is there are no free runners. If you watch their tape, there's not guys running wide open all over the field. They are very sound, they're disciplined, and their eyes are always in the right spot. And I think that's the best compliment you can give to a defense is you don't sit there and go, okay, we can expose them on this. So that's really where their biggest issue for us is.
Other defenses and how they've approached slowing down this Vikings offense. Has there been any individual or any team or any approach that's really stuck out to you as we've kind of seen them slow down after a really hot start?
Well, you look at the last 2 games, the biggest thing is the takeaways that other teams have had. That was the turning point in those games. I mean, this offense, these guys have been in the system for a while. Obviously, Sam's in his first year there, but he was in a very similar system in San Francisco, with the connection of Shanahan and McVay. So these guys, they know what they're doing. They're in the right spots. They execute at a high clip. And we got to be ready to go and stop it.
You have a guy like Justin Jefferson in your face, and I know the temptation is to double him, but how do you go about balancing that? Because, Addison's on the other side. He's a good player as well.
Well, you got to pick your spots. Obviously, Jefferson's one of the best receivers in the National Football League. He does it week in and week out. So you have to have some attention to him, but they have weapons all over the field. They have tight ends, they running backs good out the backfield. So, you have to spread the wealth of where you want to put your attention, and then guys have to execute, and the guys that's on the field have to make plays as well when they're on one-on-ones with these guys. And, they're all professionals, and we got to make plays when the opportunities come, and we got to spend attention taking certain things away.
You had said that he's a guy, he's not scared of anything, he never backs down. He's really excited about this matchup. Do you go into this week just trying to taper him down a little bit and just go out and play ball, or how do you approach that with him?
Well, right now, I think that he's in a good space when you watch him practice. I don't think he's too high or too low. I mean, it's a great challenge for him. No different than when we went down to Miami and we had to face their receivers. And that was the first opportunity he had to play. So the challenge is there. I'm glad that he's excited for the challenge. Some people might be scared of it, going against these 2 guys. So I'd rather him stay in that place where he's at right now, have some confidence, and obviously, goddamn play his best brand of football that he can play while everybody's watching.
Halfway through this season, what are some trends that you like so far this season from your defense? What are some things that have to be better here second half?
Well, obviously, throughout the first half of the season, we've been very good on first down, creating negative plays. It didn't happen last week, and it kind of put us behind the sticks. So we need to continue to play good, sound football in the run game on first and second down, surround that passing game. Things that we got to get better with is obviously over the last couple of weeks, way too many touchdowns. Our red zone defense has to step up. And then, obviously with the red zone defense stepping up, you keep the scores down. We got to execute better. The plan has to be tighter. And when guys get the opportunity to make plays, they got to make the plays that come to them.
What can be done to kind of help with the red zone stuff?
Well, it's just about, for me, it's about executing. Teams attack certain coverages, certain looks that you have. Our guys, we have to execute at a higher clip. some of the things we can do from a coaching staff, take some of the thinking off of them by not doing a lot of different things. And as long as they look at the right stuff and they execute what they're supposed to, it gives us an opportunity. Just play by your rules. And where we get in trouble is when we don't play by the rules. And there's a breakdown here or there. Also, down there in the red zone, even on the touchdown with the ball on the right sideline, rushing coverage still has to go hand in hand. And, we got to rush well down there. We got to plaster. We got to stay on our guys, and we just got to execute. And when guys do that and slow their heartbeat down, relax when you get in those moments, they'll make plays. And I think we have the right plan going forward, and we'll go out there and execute it.
We talked to Legarius a little bit yesterday. It's kind of hard to get a read on. What can you tell us about his frame of mind from the sideline and the training room? And is there any element of temptation for a guy so used to winning to look at a team in the state this one is and feel any temptation to check out?
He is not a quitter. That's what I could tell you about the young man. He's trying to do everything he can to get out on the football field, and when he's healthy enough to get out on the football field, he'll play. There's no quit in him. He's a leader. He's a tough guy. He wants to be out there and fight with his teammates. And obviously right now he has an injury and he's not ready to play. And every day he's in a meeting room. Every day he asks questions. He's helping the young guys. He's all dialed in. He's 100% in with this organization and his defense.
When you go through a game, obviously sacks are not everything that affects an opposing passing game, but when you go through a game and you don't get any, how much does that have to become a point of emphasis the next week to uptick the pressure?
Well, the number one thing, it's a lot of things to win in football, but you have to affect the quarterback. All right. And, our biggest thing is if you're not hitting them, you got to alter the passes. You got to become a pass defender. We need tip balls. We need to dominate the A and B gaps so quarterbacks don't have step-up lanes. And then, all the time, sometimes you don't sack them, but you got to touch them. He has to know that people around his feet and people are hitting him. We need to get sacks. We need to get pressure on the quarterback to slow down this unit. And, we're going into it with the intention of doing that.
Was it demoralizing to have the scoop and score overturned last week?
I don't know if it was demoralizing. It's part of the game. Obviously that would have been a huge factor in the game. Guys were playing extremely well. Jeff makes a hell of a play, beats a one-on-one. We got guys in the right spot, and obviously we thought we scored. All right, and then if you get that score and you go into halftime playing good defense against a good team in their home stadium in the West Coast, you come out of halftime feeling a lot better. Unfortunately, we didn't get the call, and when you don't get the call, you gotta move on. And we need to come out in the second half and play better, and don't allow things like that to bother us.
Talked about the strategy of going for the arm versus going for the ball in that situation. Can you kind of talk us through what the pros and cons are when you're going there?
It's not good enough just to get the sack because it's times two. When you get to the quarterback, you want to get the ball out too. All right, the quarterback is the most prone player on the field of losing the ball. And if you look at most takeaways, you have teams that get takeaways by punching the ball out, forced fumbles, interceptions. Most of them come by affecting the quarterback. So when you get there, it's not just good enough to sack them. You want to get the ball off of them. You have to be intentional.
That touchdown Quentin Johnston had, it looked like you guys were in cover 3. I'm not certain, but can you kind of take us through what happened?
Well, what they did was early in the game when Roger made a play on the deep over, they ran the same route concept. They just did it the other way. But with the drive route, normally they have a drive route underneath. On this play, they ran a drive route, got them to the hash, pushed them vertical, all right, and then ran a 7 off of it. As a 2-player, like when you look at football conceptually, you have one player who's normally the corner, then you have a 2-player. He could be a curl flat player or whatever it is. And the rule of football is this. When you are a 2-player and I get 2 guys go vertical and I have nothing going to the flat, I should flip and fly and work. And it was one of those plays where they had too much fractions of time. It goes back to the pass rush where they was able to find that play. Unscouted. I don't know if they intentionally did it on purpose or he saw a hole in coverage and he took it. But just from a rule standpoint, if I get 2 vertical and I have no 3 to the flat, flip and find, get your eyes back inside because something's coming to you. And unfortunately, we didn't make the play.